Yeah, all right. Thank you very much, Soňa. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm welcoming you here on behalf of British Chamber of Commerce and British Embassy in Prague. My name is Jan Elga, and please allow me to introduce you our wonderful moderator, Ms. Soňa Jonášová, founder of Institute of Circular Economy, which helps to develop innovative environmental management. She is also a member of supervisory board of Změna k lepšímu, which is an initiative that should help restart economy after the pandemic in a more environmentally friendly way. And she is also a co-founder of Sierra Advisory, which helps businesses within transformation to more sustainable business, let's say. And as you can see probably from all these activities she's a pretty busy person and has also really adequate knowledge in the field, which she is also expanding within her PhD studies at the Charles University, social ecology studies. So thank you, Soňa, for being part of this panel, and the floor or the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. I feel like really busy right now, but I have to say that the circular economy is always connecting really great people with great visions and also very active people. So that means that I'm not all alone, and I'm really having great colleagues and great partners to work with. And I'm also very glad that at this panel, you'll meet them as well, because we have really great speakers that can give you a concrete overview, but also concrete examples about what's going on in circular economy. Since the circular economy is one of the main pillars of a new European Green Deal, and it's becoming internal and integrated part of almost every discussion that is being run right now around sustainability, because it's kind of combining what makes sense on resource-based approach, but also what brings economy and interesting approaches into new business models. And also circular economy is becoming a hot topic for international policy and for international diplomacy as well, because I guess that there is so much know-how and technologies that can be shared within European countries, but also that can help to solve some big problems globally. And I'm not talking just about waste management, but also about water management. And a circular economy is very much related to bioeconomy. That means that we can really close the loops on nature-based solutions. But what we need really is to know what's going on and what kind of legislation is being prepared, because I guess that we will be having really nice overview in what's going on in Brussels and how we can really join these discussions, even though we sometimes feel that the pandemic is the topic number one. But I would say that we still have to have eyes widely open for other topics that are being discussed right now. And we have also speakers that will be sharing with you concrete cases to show you what does it mean, because you might be from those people that are listening this session just because they are interested about what's going on and what is the circular economy about. But I think that it's enough from my side, and I'd like to introduce to you our speakers, and I would like to introduce Mr. Alessandro Pasquale, the owner and CEO of Mattoni 1873. Alessandro, welcome.
Thank you very much.
The second speaker is Michal Vaňáček, a government and community manager of Tesco stores, Czech Republic. Also, welcome here, Mr. Vaňáček.
Good afternoon.
And the third, but not definitely the last speaker, is Philipp Lauscheck. He's a public regulation manager of Deloitte Legal, also one of attendee of circular economy courses. So I guess he's really into the topic from not just practical, but also, I would say, academic point of view, since it was at the technical university. So Philip, welcome here.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction.
I'm really glad that I can really personally say that we've chosen those speakers that can really share with you practical overview and can give you a deeper insight in the whole topic. And I like to start with giving a floor to Alessandro, who is very well known, not just thanks to what he's doing in the company Mattoni 1873, but also because he was one of those people who started to talk again, but very loudly and enthusiastically about the deposit scheme in Czech Republic, which is obviously probably only one way how to reach the goals, or there might be others, but we don't know about them. So that's why we were also founding institutions of the platform Zálohujme. At the beginning, there was a question mark, but now we just call, let's do it. Let's start with the deposit scheme that we see as something that really makes sense. And it's also bringing circular economy into practice. So Alessandro, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And good morning or good afternoon to everybody. I was asked to tell a little bit my story in that regards. I have 6 minutes, so I will try to compress quite a long period of time in 6 minutes. So once I did a presentation, the same topic in front of some member of the commission in Brussels, and I call it a great journey. And I still think like that because, in fact, has been a journey. And the journey started with Alessandro, I suppose, I hope a nice guy, which was taking care of the business which he built in the easiest possible way. I just inherited, and which was enjoying good life, and was mostly interested in his collection of old cars, which are quite noisy and pretty polluting objects, and all was fine. But I started to realize that they're very simple. We had two big problems. The first is that our packaging was perceived, and I mean it perceived very badly. It's not so bad that it is perceived, but who cares? It is perceived badly. And the second and biggest problem is the whole industry was sitting in this problem, just tapping his shoulder, convinced that we were doing great products and we were paying our fee for the waste management, and that was it. And it's not anymore the case. So I slowly realized that that it was necessary to do something. So I started to try to look around and get example. I went to Germany, to Norway, to Lithuania, or country where they develop a very efficient system of collection, even a bit different between each other. And it was obvious that for me, the direction was that, but I need the comfort of some, of some science. And that's why we decided to start to make some studies. The first and most obvious, let's see what the consumer will think about, because, maybe if we change the way how we produce, they will not like it. And that was a big surprise. And the consumer was just waiting for it. They were ready for it. We were afraid, but stupidly and unnecessarily, they actually sometimes ask, we don't understand how come nothing has been done so far. So then we move forward and we try to figure out how to do. As Soňa said, she was helping us. I was asking, let's study how to make the deposit system in Czech. She said, no, we are going to study what is the right system for Czech. I know it's deposit. No, we are going to study the right system. And I was very happy because I had around me consultant, Soňa, Eunomia, which is an important European company, very often consulting the Commission, the University of Prague. And however I would try, it was impossible to influence in one side or the other, because all of them were extremely independent. But the good news is that the result was exactly what we were expecting. So the original idea was correct. And so we came to the conclusion that the most efficient way how to collect the bottle was to use a deposit, which, by the way, is used on the glass normally in this country. It's nothing new and nothing too complicated. On this way, while we were focused on collecting, we start to feel that collecting is nice, but what? It's not all. So we start to elaborate more, and we came to the idea of the circularity. It's not just collecting; it's create a whole loop. And just to give you an idea, all this was before the circular economy package and the single single-use plastic directive were made public. Of course, I had some insight, but that was not the reason. It came before, which I think made us quite like a pioneer in that. Together with the work and the evidence starts to come also the passion. And I have to say I got really passionate personally on the topic. Has been very tough because after you had the evidence, you have to align with the industry, with the retail. I know Tesco is a good one because they in generally are positive, other much less. And we move forward. Then we start to, and in all this time I was thinking, okay, it will cost something, but future is important, environment is important, and I think unsustainable products which are not sustainable have no future. So even if it costs more, who cares? We will manage that, and consumer will help us, maybe not. So let's go anyway. In reality, at the end of the day, and with the last study we made this year, with Mr. Maastricht, which unfortunately left us because of this crazy infection of COVID. Well, we made a full analysis of the circular system. We discovered one thing: it's not costing more. So that was the incredible surprise that, well, you can do the right things. You can reinvent or significantly change the model while you are running your business. You can achieve environmental objective. You can become an example, hopefully, or anyway, someone who tried to do something good. And after all, it simply makes sense, it's efficient. So very often I see the industry is somehow locked in some concept. They think that it will be terrible, it will be difficult, it will be economical bloodbath. I don't even make any real analysis, just they think so. And that's it. Well, when you start to dig and when you start to really analyze, you see that it makes sense across, at least in our business, across every single aspect of the business. So I try to be fast. In the meantime, well, we set up the Slovakian system. Very good news. It's just more detailed because it's not simple, but it's on the good way. January 1st, 22, we start, not just the deposit, we start the first real circular system for beverage in the world, I suppose, because the way how we set up is absorbing all the new idea that we develop in this time, and I think it will be state of art and will be a great example for all the countries. And this is a very important topic that I want to touch if you want to know something of my experience, is that very often when you speak with, even with expert, very often with politicians, they just look what is there, say, oh, well, we can do maybe like in Germany, or come on, this is new. We are inventing the future. We cannot replicate what has been already done. Well, maybe yes, if it's perfect, but normally not. So it's important not only to get the example. I start taking the example, but it's important to moving forward because the frontier of what can be done are much more different. You have to think out of the box and make it different. And this is very often very, very difficult to explain. That I don't care if nowhere in Europe nowhere in the world is done like I want to do it. I think it has to be done like that. So let's do it like that. And after we will do it, someone else will copy and will take example from us. This is really, really relevant. So all the conference circularity is done. We just have to implement. It's difficult, but this I let to make people. And my next challenge, which I start to dedicate in the future, is to, everybody's speaking about circularity. Good. And what should produce circularity? Yeah. Well, is there any definition of a circular product? I'm not aware. There's nowhere written how a circular product, how a product could be circular, how to define. And we know how, for example, a bottle can be refillable. We know what is a single-use plastic. Fine, great. And the circular product, what is it? It's not single-use, it's not refillable. So all the world is talking about circularity. For what I know, nobody has still yet figured out what the circularity should produce. So that's I believe, the next frontier of the circular economy, to decide what is circular. Because the closing the loop, yeah, in theory it's simple, but it is not all. So in a nutshell, that's my experience. I changed my life. I'm going to buy for my family a Tesla, but I still collect noisy and polluting cars, so nobody's perfect. So,
thank you. Thank you for sharing, Alessandro. I mean, the last sentence, like nobody's perfect, is important to mention in circular economy, where many businesses are looking for perfect solutions, and they are thinking that this kind of very, very complex problem can be solved with easy solutions. And that's exactly what you've been mentioning. It's not really possible, and we have to kind of start to discuss with the different stakeholders from academia, from also different consultant companies, but also with lawyers, to see what's going on, what's coming in field of circular economy. And I will just skip my personal question, because I guess there will be more time at the end to use our application that you might download, or not. You do not have to download. You can just open MIA app. And for this session, and because we have already 2 questions or comments, I think that it's that you're having this information from previous informations from the organizers, but the number to get into MIA is, I guess, for all the same, and it should be 138 372 to get in. And I'll be glad if you will ask your questions through this application, because we can immediately answer them once we will be having a time for discussion at the end of the session, which will be quite short. And that's why we should be sharp. So please use our MIA app. And I'd like to thanks again to Alessandro for opening an enthusiastic speech. And I'd like to give a floor to Mr. Michal Vaňáček to mention also what's going on in Tesco. And when Alessandro was asking what is really circular product, to also share a bit your approach, share a bit from your journey to sustainability, and also maybe tell us how you perceive circularity, circular products from your point of view. So Mr. Vaňáček, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Hello once again. Hopefully you see my presentation. It's a great honor for me to participate in this conference. As been already said, I'm responsible in Tesco, Czech Republic, in the communication team for government affairs and CSR activities. And my task today is basically introduce you sustainability strategy of Tesco, Czech Republic, with particular focus on sustainable packaging. So I should start saying that Tesco approach to sustainability is a core part of our business, and it's been developed into the company strategy that is called Little Helps Plan. The results of this strategy are on regular basis presented to shareholders, stakeholders, general public, to everyone who's interested in knowing what we are doing in this regard. The essence of our business is to offer consumers affordable, healthy and sustainable products, and in a way that is not harmful to the planet, and at the same time helps social and economic development in the places in which we operate, which is across the whole Czech Republic and also in other countries, because we have Tesco Central Europe operating also in Slovakia, in Hungary, and used to operate also in Poland. It won't probably surprise you that as a food retail chain, we mainly produce waste that is related to the food and packaging. So this we are paying the special attention to those 2 types of waste and adapt our operations to prevent their landfilling as much as possible. And we are obviously also committed to doing the right things by our activities on climate change. To this end, we've got a specific goals that you can see in the presentation. I'll focus on our commitments to sustainable packaging. To start, 2 years ago in spring 2019, Tesco in Central Europe, as already described, made 3 public commitments to make our own brand packaging more sustainable and take steps that would lead to creating a closed loop packaging system in our operations. We committed basically to 3 things: eliminate all hard to recycle materials from our own brand packaging by 2020, make our own brand packaging fully recycled or reusable by 2025, which means across entire range of thousands of products, not just a few product lines that we will show. And we also committed to build coalitions with other retailers, suppliers, packaging industry, weight industry, and others to maximize the recovery, recycling, and reuse of plastics packaging materials. Where are we now after 2 years of this exercise? You see the results. 540 tons of hard to recycle materials removed from operations Central Europe, including 157 tons in the Czech Republic. Our household product packaging has undergone a complete overhaul to become fully recyclable without any impact on price. And we've successfully finalized several examples of closed loop products like own brand liners that are made up from 50% recycled plastic waste or from bags made of paper waste, also from our own operations. All this packaging strategy is based on 4 R's approach. I don't have to probably describe it in more detail as it's widely known, but in a nutshell, we want to remove plastics and other hard to recycle materials where we can. Where we can remove them, we want to reduce it to the absolute minimum, explore the new opportunities to reuse it, and if we can't, we just want to ensure that it's all recycled as a part of the closed loop. Here I prepared some tangible results. As I've already said, the first picture, examples of initiatives are already told, significant savings in terms of plastics, hard to recycle materials removed from our products. The second one is the bin liners. When we realized that after analysis that our plastic waste from our operations has very good quality and can be in cooperation with our supplier, collected from our stores and basically changed into bin liners production and sold again to our customers. And we are also offering to our customers paper carry bags made from 20% of recycled Tesco waste. And maybe I can describe later on several other examples. And last but not least, in April, actually next month, in plan with our commitment, we present launch in all 3 markets, change packaging of our own brand household products. The change will include 200 items in the whole CE range, and there will be gradual introduction of these products. You will recognize them on our shelves by front logo, the green one you see on the screen. And Tesco Central Europe is actually the first in the Tesco group where we made such a packaging shift with fully recyclable packaging of household products. So the packaging has been developed in line with local guidelines on recyclability, which means that our customers can dispose it sustainably, provided they use the right recycled containers provided by the local municipalities. So that's from the beginning from my side, and looking forward to any questions you might have.
Thank you for this introduction. I have to also mention that in discussion, we'll be looking forward to hear a bit more from some few pilot projects that you're running right now, together also with your local partners, to try to close loop locally regarding to paper bags and other products, which is quite interesting to see, because what I have learned from my experiences, everybody understand what does it really mean, circularity, once you go really through the whole value chain, and also from resources to real recyclability and to really close loops locally, as was Alessandro mentioning before. It's about huge public discussions, and it's about discussions with those that are taking care of your waste and that can really recycle it afterwards. So I'm really looking forward to hear more about your next steps that wasn't mentioned yet. And our third speaker is Philipp Lauscheck, as I mentioned before. And I'm really curious about what's going on in Brussels and what kind of legislation we can be waiting for, because I see that even during the pandemics that in Czech Republic is bringing just only one topic on our daily agenda, the Brussels is still working on Green Deal and bringing circularity into life. And I'd like to really learn more. And I'm really grateful that you're here with us, Filip, because I know that you are posting on social media every new that I'm not touching or catching in this, I would say, discussions that are ongoing so quickly. So thank you for that. And thank you for sharing in advance. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Maybe I now qualify as an influencer if I share it and someone actually reads it. As you said at the beginning, or as was said, we cannot, let's say, pinpoint circularity on one topic, because it's interconnected topic with another issues, regulatory or in general, with biodiversity, with use of land, and with carbon neutrality, etc., etc. So when we say that we are talking about, let's say, circular regulation, it's this the most tangible part that we consider as a circular. But of course, you can make argument that any ecological transformation is partly circular, because you cannot go around it if you really want to make your business environmental friendly or sustainable. I will maybe start with the Single-Use Plastics Directive and implementing acts that are now in the Parliament, where I would like to demonstrate or show the trend that will emerge from the European Union in other sectors, because mostly what we hear about is the prohibition of plastic straws, putting plastic straws on the market. But the directive and the acts are much broader, and they show two like big trends. First is the broadening of EPR, which is extended producer responsibility, which is the concept that producers of certain products are responsible for those products even when they are waste. So now currently it's packaging, batteries, electronics, and tires. And this is broadened even by the current state. That means that now producers of certain plastic products, like plastic cups, will pay the expenses to the municipalities for littering, and another, for example, plastic products, for example, tobacco products or wet wipes, will pay this compensation to municipalities as well. This is clear trend that will be enhanced in another streams of products, most likely to the textile and so on. So this is definitely the trend that needs to be taken into account. And another aspect of this is that new KPIs will be introduced. We can see this in plastic bottles, in PET bottles now, that there are collection targets for plastic bottles. And Commission in the Circular Economy Action Plan already commits to introduce new KPIs to selected, let's say, selected industries or products that will be introduced. Although there is no clear, let's say, clear cut on what these products will be, but there is definitely this trend to set KPIs. Another trend that can be seen from Single-Use Plastics Directive is the eco-modulation, is the eco-design of packaging. That means obligatory recycled content in the certain products. This will be, again, first to hit will be the PET bottle industry or PET bottles, but this is already talked to be the case also in, for example, construction materials. So there's discussion whether construction materials will have obligatory content of recycled materials in them. So these are the trends that will be transposed in new sectors. This is, as Mr. Pasquale said, that there is no definition of what circular product is. Well, the C strategy says that Commission should create sustainable product policy framework, which is actually goes in this, let's say, this area, and should set KPIs for, let's say, recyclability, content of recycled materials, durability and repairability of products, and so on. So this is already in discussions, and it will be seen because you cannot set one set of rules for everything. So you have to go industry by industry or sector by sector. Another big thing that is discussed and will be definitely implemented is prohibition of destruction of unsold goods. So, for example, if you sell, I don't know, textile, let's say, again, you will be prohibited to destruct it, and you will probably have obligation to create some scheme how to give it away or how to recycle it again. Another thing that is going on is so-called right for repair, which means that producers of certain products will have obligation to make available or to allow for repairs of their products, and this is already in place in some sectors. For example, in displays, in electronics, in some electronics, where producers of these products have to make available the spare parts for 10 years, 7 to 10 years after they stop putting the products on the market, which means that the repair shops, let's say, will be able to repair the products that otherwise would have to be thrown away. This opens, of course, many avenues, for example, to 3D printing, because you cannot just store like millions and millions of parts of just in case, and so on. And there are already some producers of electronics that go in this way. So this should also help to close the loop on for example, electronics in this case. But this of course can spill over to another sectors. And also very important thing is fight against greenwashing, because now everything is green. If you go to any shop, everything is sustainable and bio and eco. So Commission wants to propose that only, let's say, that you could claim that your product is sustainable only based on life cycle analysis of this product, which is very complex analysis on its own. And if you have to do it individually for all products, that's quite a thing. I don't know if I'm out of time or not, because there's a lot of regulation. So just stop me if I'm already over.
I think that I just have to stop you, because people will think that the circular economy is just about regulation, and they will see like, oh my God, so many things are going on. No, I'm really happy that you've been sharing some really concrete insights, and I'm having maybe the question, because we can jump in concrete topics. We'll be having these discussions to connect some projects that are going on, if they're in line with the legislation or not. But my personal question would be, like, what do you see as the most challenging in what you've been mentioning right now? I mean, you've mentioned the life cycle assessment as it's really a concrete methodology, and I know that we've been counting with that when we were discussing the deposit schemes, to be really sure that we will choose the right solution. And also, as Alessandro mentioned, at the end of the day, also thanks to Professor Mejstřík and his team, we now know that the deposit scheme surprisingly seems to be also economically effective. But also, it's still to really keep in mind that something bigger is going on. So what is the most challenging us? Like what's coming, and we should be really aware of it?
Well, I would say that the most, let's say, tangible and already in some concrete or particular how it shows, it's taxonomy of sustainable economic activities, which is basically a big concept or big regulation, which sets KPIs for every or most economic activities and sets under what conditions they can be considered as sustainable. This is very important because firstly, it will be very complex, and secondly, it will reach far because, let's say, green bonds will be linked to the taxonomy. Financial institution will have to report in alignment with taxonomy, so they will probably prefer that the activities are in line with taxonomy. And it seems that more and more regulation, environmental regulation will come. I mean, that's for sure. And since taxonomy will be the basic building block, all the future regulation will probably just link itself to the taxonomy, and it will be done. So once you would say that my economic activity is sustainable, you would probably have to align it with taxonomy. And that will be very very complex and challenging.
Yeah, thank you very much for mentioning this, because I mean, Green Deal is in long discussions from 2019. Mainly last year it was discussed, not so much in Czech Republic, but also taxonomy is just following up on that. And I guess that we have to learn a lot and also understand that money is now being affected by new phenomena, which is CO2 footprint, and also measuring CO2 as something which seems to be only criterion that we can really measure and that we can really combine together with buying things based on price, but also based on its impact. And this is a really game changer, I would say. And that's why I have a question for Alessandro, because I know that you are personally being involved in many European discussions. You are part of many important platforms. That's why we were also exchanging what's going on in not just in Brussels, but EU, because I mean, sometimes in Czech Republic, we think that we can really avoid things and that it will be happening somewhere, but it won't affect us. What do you see, again, personally, as a topic that is raising and maybe even surprising you by its speed? And since I guess you can really quite maybe easily implement some new trends in your company, what do you see as a trend that you should be aware of, and where do you see maybe opportunities in this field?
Yeah, thank you. Well, what it was said before, we talk a lot about circularity, recycling. I think if you look at the list of topics which is important for the Commission, biodiversity is definitely more important. But nobody's talking about biodiversity locally. It's very not much touch topic. But it's something we all see, you know, the story of the bees that are half of what they should be, and so on. We see how can impact our life. So definitely this is a trend a lot. I see now a new initiative about this farm to fork, and moving even outside just environmental, and put together sustainability, health, and good practice in general for the company, which is I was discussing this morning about the code of conduct, something I don't know, many maybe didn't even heard, but the Commission is defining a new project where companies should and industries have to define their own code of conduct, and then they will be monitored if they are, you know, following it, achieving the targets. which is basically another step, and it's again 360 degree. It's not just environmental; it's much wider. But of course, very important is especially health and environmental, and is moving at the speed of light. And something like there are the European Mineral Water Association is. I saw today the schedule. There is a meeting every month, more or less, and Mr. Timmermans planned to present it in autumn at the UN meeting somewhere, I don't remember. So I mean, in November we will have a new completely story, and we didn't get. We are, as a company, I think, advanced. We didn't even convince our Minister of Environment about the basics. Sorry for saying that, but that's the truth. Eco-modulation, you ask to the ministry, they say, it's a problem of Ecocom. You ask Ecocom, they didn't tell us anything. Nobody's even planning eco-modulation in Czech. And in Brussels, they already the new things, the farm to fork and code of conduct. So we have to run.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I also see from my perspective that I thought in Czech Republic we have this saying, like, you know, like it's not so fast, you're not so far because of COVID. But if I see the emails and communication going on in Brussels, it's everything in line with the agenda that was set. So you're right that if we will be slow, we might lost many opportunities to jump in. And also that's my question to Michal Vaňáček, because I see that you've been mentioning that you're going to take care not just more, but also to follow up on what you have been doing already in your food-based strategies. And I guess that is also connected to farm to fork, because we can find local symbiosis, how to use food, not just for those who really need it and don't have approach to it, but also we can find the cascades to connect it with farms, to connect with biogas stations, to be really sure that we will close the loops. But I know that in Tesco, you're doing many concrete projects. You've been mentioning your strategies, but you are running a local projects based on closed loop agenda to be sure that you can supervise the really closed loop and you can really tell to your customers what's going on with your waste. Can you maybe elaborate a bit more on this to explain what's going on in Tesco? Thank you.
Sure, of course I can. As I already said, we are basically trying to help, or hopefully helping our customers to live more environmentally and environmentally friendly, and offering them products in recyclable packaging. That's the first step, maybe. And I've already spoken about the household category that is coming in following weeks to be officially announced. But it's most of the products are already on our shelves in the shop, so customers can buy them for the same price. I've already introduced the closed loop examples from our waste, both plastic and paper, where we, in cooperation with our suppliers, are giving the waste a second chance, or even more, because the waste can be repeatedly reproduced into those products. So yes, there are tangible examples we can show. And I'm also glad that you mentioned the food waste, because this is obviously another topic of our interest. I think that we are well known as the only one retailer who is actually presenting data on the food waste, and I think it's really related to our debate today, because we are committed not to throw away any food sustainable for consumption, and we've got processes in order to do so. But food waste is also an environmental problem for sure, because it's responsible for 8% of greenhouse gas emissions, and the share will be growing in upcoming years. So this is another area where not only us will focus on, but I expect, or we can take it for granted, that the legislation will react on these findings. So we try to keep momentum to use that, and that's why we are trying to cooperate and maybe sometimes already convinced our suppliers, all the responsible stakeholders to cooperate in this regard, to be precise on sharing the data, to act target their actions and to deliver.
Thank you for mentioning data, because I guess it's something that is like a red line. I mean, if you are discussing about new legislation about taxonomy, it's about KPIs. That means some kind of measurements. What was mentioning Alessandro about biodiversity, we have to also measure it somehow. I mean, we are losing species to see that not just biodiversity, but also bioeconomy, really based on nature-based solutions. That will be something that will be, of course, a part of everyday discussion. And I may be having a short question, and you can still use this application. I'm having quite curious question from Jirka. How many people are watching us? I can tell you that when we didn't know that we are being streamed already, we were just saying that we don't know how many people are attending. So we might think that we are just 4 people discussing here. So Jirka, we will share with you afterwards how many people were attending. And since this discussion will be also recorded, I guess many people will have access to see it and watch it afterwards. And there will be hopefully hundreds of them, because if I understood well from Filip, I mean, once things can get measured, then they can get probably get done. And I'm having a question regarding to real recycling. I mean, there was a big discussions, part of discussions 2 years ago, and we were discussing that at the course of about circular economy as well, quite specifically, that in Czech Republic, we've been kind of calculating recycling based on waste separation. But it's, if I'm not wrong, it's being changed a lot. Can you maybe discuss a bit on this?
Mm-hmm. This was already changed, or the requirements for how to measure recycling of packaging, I think, was already changed with the circular economy package, which is 2018, I think. So now there are very, very precise criteria on when and what I can count in as a recycled material, because what it usually or used to be done is that you would take the amount of waste you gave to the recycling facility, and that would be checked as recycled. But now you have to, let's say, disregard the cleaning process and the separation of fractions of waste that are not recycled. So let's say if we have PET bottles, which is a great example, you would get rid of the wrap, the plastic wrap. You cannot count the weight of plastic wrap as recycled. You have to count only the PET, if you don't recycle the wrap, of course. So that's again the pressure from another. You have the pressure from the side of the producers to produce in a certain way, and then you have pressure from below on how to actually treat the material.
Thank you. I mean, it's really connecting what we've been discussing around here, that if you're discussing about products that can be recyclable or that are made out of recycled materials, it's not the same. And it's also, it will be discussed very well based on new taxonomy. And there will be many more topics popping up. And I guess that this is just a beginning where Chamber of Commerce is opening this question, and we will be having more follow-ups. I see that Jan is agreeing on that. And that's why I would like to have, if there is no question from the audience, the next ones, you can still use your app. But I have the last one questions from my side. And if something will pop up, I will use it, of course, to ask our guests. But my question is, you've been working a lot on field of circular economy. I mean, all of you, from different perspective in different fields. And if you could wish for one thing to be changed in Czech Republic to really help this transition to happen, to really jump from linear to circular economy? And I'm saying to jump because I think that we have to really jump, because there is no time for just like looking around and discussing if it's the right direction or not. It's already a really integral priority of a Green Deal. What would you like to change to make it happen? And I'd like to start with you, Alessandro.
Thank you. You'll give me time to think about that. Well, you always accuse me to be too provocative, so I don't know what to answer. Well, maybe we, let's say, maybe we should really start with the approach and mentality of the ones who should push the change, which means our policymaker. They're too slow, too limited, too afraid of change. I don't understand them. Obviously, change has risk. That's normal. But change is what we need to do. And I think even mistakes will be forgiven if the intention were correct, and we'll be learning to do better. So we cannot stay stuck and pretending that we have a good system, which is in fact looking good, but if you dig a bit, it's not so good, even if it's one of the best. That's true. We need to be ready to change. And the industry, it's always accused to be lazy. We always see, for example, in my industry, the mandatory quota of RPT, and we have to create the demand for recycled plastic. But the industry just want it. The industry just want it. You don't have to stimulate any demands. The demands is there. Just help us to make it real. So it's this is coming also a commission. It's completely, they see the industry as you know, the old capitalist, the one with the, like in the Mickey Mouse, you know, with the hat, and the house full of coins. We are not like that. We want to change. We want to be better, but we don't have to stimulate us. We are convinced, but help us to do it. And this on a local level, because of the setup of the EU with the, what's the name, the subsidiarity. In Brussels, they decide. And locally, they do nothing. No, not only Czech, generally, this have to change. Cannot be. And the willingness from the industry, all the industry is there. I'm sure of that.
Thank you. Thank you for that. You're actually answering Jirka's question that the Czech government at sustainable steps, what is your opinion? I think that we should really speed up because the train is going on and it's not a train, it's like a super train and we will be losing a lot. So thank you for that, Alessandro. And also I'd like to ask Filip, you've been mentioning so many things going on. So what do you think, what should happen right now to really change as many things as possible? What would you recommend to us?
Mr. Pasquale took my response partly. I would say that the wish is good. But I think that by its nature, the government and regulation would always be step behind the industry or the entrepreneurs. They have to drive the change and even, let's say, put pressure on the states, whatever states, European Union, if possible, to show that they have plan of sustainability, of how to achieve sustainability, and that this is how we do. Because when you do something, even if we would have very, let's say, prone to action government, it's not always good because a lot of mistakes can be done, which can really damage the business. Or if you make changes every year, it's not good. So what I wouldn't go so far as wishing for such a big thing. I would maybe start with proper, let's say, data availability and making decisions on the data available, and setting very specific KPIs on what do you want to achieve in, let's say, 5-10 years. And then act on it, and because usually the goals are very, very broad, so you know, you don't know what to expect.
Thank you for this data-based approach, and also thank you all for your energy, because I'm having a message from Petra Turzova from Imperial Brands. I just like to thank you all for a great presentation, energy, and your input. Well appreciated. So I guess that also thanks to the sharing, we can really bring inspiration for others to start with. So thank you all for that. And our third speaker, Michal Vaňáček, what would you like to wish for, I would say, in this field? What would you like to see? What kind of change would you like to see around you?
I would say that the basis is the cooperation of all involved actors. Because the circular economy as such can function only when all stakeholders in the value chain are in balance, and we need cooperation of, let's say, software, or customers, but also hardware infrastructure, municipalities, recycling industry, us as retailers, producers, and so on. So that's the first thing. And also which I would like to add as my personal is, let's say, to change the perception, because as Filip and Alessandro, you both mentioned, that when it comes to the single-use plastic directive, that the perception is rather narrow, so maybe not only us, like experts or let's say the involved stakeholders, but also the general public should look at this from the broader picture, because it's also important.
Thank you, and also thank to you all, because I mean I'm really having a good time. I'm seeing that many companies are already on a virtual board of circular economy. I mean, I didn't even wish for having such open discussions about circular economy. I mean, the Institute of Circular Economy was established in 2015, and we were hoping for ability to inform key stakeholders that something is going on in Brussels, and we have to really keep on doing good things and trying to close the loop. And we were saying always that we need real cooperation among stakeholders. The government itself can't do it. The same with businesses, the same with customers. And you all were mentioning that based on data, if we all will be working together, and I don't mean like idealistically, but really sit around round tables and discussing how we can make things happen, how we can do cross-industrial symbiosis, and how we can work together, it can bring really great results. But together with the government, that we really need to see the support, and we really need to see some ambitious. So thank you for this. I would like to thank you all for watching us and for giving the most valuable resource, which is a time for this discussion. And I really hope that I will be seeing you more often on this kind of platforms. And also thank you to the British Chamber of Commerce for organizing such wonderful events, bringing right people together, discussing openly, and bringing new ideas into this business sector. Thank you for that. And I'm giving my word back to Jan.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. Thank you all for this amazing panel. I would like to remind to our viewers that the conference and all of the panels are being recorded and will be available to see online after the conference in the upcoming days till the end of the week, probably. And I would like to give you all heads up, because this conference should serve as a starting point for sustainability activities of the British Chamber of Commerce, which we will develop in upcoming days, weeks, and months. We want to create a platform where our member companies and the BCC community can share knowledge and help to develop sustainability even further. Thank you once again to you all, Mr. Alessandro Pasquale, CEO of Mattoni 1873, Mr. Philipp Lauscheck from Deloitte Legal, Mr. Michal Vaňáček from Tesco's, and last but not least, our wonderful moderator, Ms. Soňa Jonášová of INCIEN. Thank you all, and I hope we will be able to meet all in person as soon as possible. Stay healthy, stay safe, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.